After seeing Evangelion on Toonami hyped up for years, random posters in people's rooms, and even references in movies and TV shows, it gave off the impression of being this ethereal masterpiece that was integral to the otaku experience. If you're black, you have to watch Friday at some point. If you're white, I don't know, Pineapple Express, and if you're a weeb, it seemed like you had to watch EVA. So of course 12 to 14-year-old me wanted to check it out. 14 hours and 30 minutes later, I was disappointed. All I did every day was shit, piss, and come in my shorts, and yet I was angry that my time was wasted. Valuable shit, piss, and cum time that I'll never get back. My anger at the show was slowly shifted to the fart-sniffing elitists and the wine-sipping redditors that allowed EVA to give off that impression. I'm Scamboli, and today I'll be talking about how Neon Genesis Evangelion can objectively suck my nickels. At least in my opinion, you're free to think whatever you want. If you haven't seen it, consider not watching this video. Not because of spoilers or anything, but it'll just be extremely boring if you don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway. Our star is Shinji Ikari, a 14-year-old League player who's forced to pilot mechs in order to defeat the Angels, giant beings from outer space which are actually derived from Adam, the being responsible for the second impact. You see, Adam came from the White Moon, so obviously Lilith, Adam's sibling, came from the Black Moon. Anyway, the only time we see Lilith is underground, pierced by the Spear of Longinus. But the Spear of Longinus is bad. Shinji's dad wants to get rid of the Spear of Longinus because it's necessary to initiate the Human Instrumentality Project. This is all actually foretold in the prophecy through the Dead Sea Scrolls. My bad, did that sound like gibberish? That's what watching the show felt like because they don't even attempt to explain any of the terms that, despite being essential to the plot, are barely mentioned. And when they are mentioned, it's only to say some vague shit like, "Ah yes, the Vaginius theorem is nearing completion." What's a Human Instrumentality Project? Well, I dug through the script, and between episodes 1 through 24, it's only mentioned 5 times, and we're told on episode 21 that it's meant to harness the power of a god, which doesn't even scratch the surface of what it actually does. How about the Lance of Laryngitis? It's mentioned once on episode 12, and you see Ray doing something with it. So you think, I wonder what that thing does. And it isn't talked about until episode 22. And for all that wait, this is what we learn. Seal wants it, Ikari wants it gone, it destroys AT fields, and it's hinted at sealing away Lilith. So they hype it up to be this crazy device that'll change everything, and we discover nothing about it. Why does Seal want it? Where does it come from? You get interested in little concepts like the Instrumentality Project or the Angels just to get absolutely dirty-necked by the writers because these mysteries end up going nowhere. It just becomes this convoluted mess with a ton of questions and no answers. Want to know about the Dead Sea Scrolls? Oh, they only mention it 4 times in the show. Want to know what the Black Egg is? Want to know why the Angels are attacking? Want to know what the first impact was? You see where this is going. Oh, but you can find that information online, just not in the main series. You see, Adam was created by the first ancestral race. They're an extremely advanced alien civilization that's responsible for the ancestral race actually originate from our Milky Way. Adam was sent to Earth within the White Moon to fill the world with angels. Lilith arrived on Earth accidentally while within the Black Moon. Actually function as both an egg and a transportation device for the This is where the Dead Sea Scrolls come in. Rather than being a prophecy, it's actually an instruction manual made by the first ancestor. The Spear of Longinus is designed to render one of the seeds of life inactive in the event that this causes Lilith in turn to release her offspring. Piers as a giant being of light is because he lost control of his S2 engine. Now, if you wanted to get those answers organically, you'd have to watch 6 more movies and sift through the 22 games if you really want to get a good grasp on the story. Minigame, to stop the fucking video from getting boring. We're gonna do a little minigame, are you ready? So, I'm gonna put this ball inside a cup, you have to guess which cup it's in, and if you're wrong, well, you owe me a kiss. Okay, did you follow that? Let me know in the comments. I'm obviously not a writer, but a good mystery creates questions that the audience wants answered and then answers them. Even makes you wonder, what's up with the Angels? What are the Dead Sea Scrolls? So you keep watching. Maybe this is so popular because the reveal's really cool. And then the reveal never happens. You wasted your time. It really alienates the audience from the jump when you toss around all these terms and organizations without even bothering to explain them. Just watch the movies, Scam. I'll just watch the movies. I'd rather deep throat a tactical insertion than waste even another second researching the EVA lore. First off, I'm not that interested anymore, and second, the show is hard to watch because every episode up until 14 follows the same exact formula. It starts off with either Shinji having daddy issues or the gang is going through some filler. Then midway through an angel attacks, and usually it'll look like Team Shinji is winning. And suddenly, direct power to right thrust. Ma'am, the boosters have been disabled. You get a little montage of some League of Legends players spamming racial slurs in chat, and now they can't beat the angel. They spend 15 minutes planning how to kill it, and you'll get some occasional dialogue like, "Don't fret, this is all foretold in the PP poo-poo complex," to make you feel like the plot is moving, and then Wowie zowie, the new plan works perfectly the first time we tried it. You can tweak the formula a little bit, for example episode 7. Everyone's talking at a conference for 10 minutes about this robot, everything's going great, and Sir, our Garen is feeding kills down bot lane. Impossible. Try calling him a Sir, we did that and he told us he wasn't black. So they spend 7 more minutes devising a plan. Misato gets sent in there, the plan doesn't work the first time, it gets resolved anyway. It essentially throws a minor twist in there to say something about Ikari. Every episode feels like Bill Murray's Groundhog Day, where it's the same thing with small delineations. You sit here thinking, well, when are the angels coming? You see them fight and think, well, when is this gonna go wrong? You effectively remove any and all suspense, especially because no one important in the series dies. We'll get to that later. And this contributes to what becomes a very boring show with nothing that really sticks out to me. I will say, however, I stopped falling asleep around episode 14 because the angels appear less frequently and the show becomes harder to predict, which I can respect. However, I fell asleep watching this, twice. Since each episode feels the same, the story carries a feeling of stagnation. Aside from Asuka appearing, nothing important actually happens to permanently change the cast nor the world. No one dies, they don't uncover some major secret that causes a rift between characters, and it stays that way until the anime ends. If you want to use the "it's realistic" argument for the show, someone's gotta die when there's robots killing each other in the middle of the city, right? No. This guy's sister got pinned under some rubble. Whoa, how convenient. Misato and Fuyutsuki survive a nuke on episode 18. Episode 3, Deep and Throat are just fine sitting under a giant mech fight. However, around episode 17, I actually started feeling nervous for a character. Something about having him pilot the EVA unnerved me, and by episode 18, his body is snapped in half against Shinji's will. It was a turning point for an even more serious point in the story. Unless, on episode 23, Rei dies a horrific and traumatic death. Nah, that's too crazy. Unless, what are the stakes? Clearly I'm not supposed to be on the edge of my seat because I already know no one's dying. I know what's gonna happen every episode. Is it the action? Is that why I'm supposed to, oh, it's cause this shit I'm not gonna read. But you see, it actually affects the psyche of, oh no, sorry, fuck you, it's boring. And if me saying your favorite anime is boring offends you, it's time to grow up. If someone said Ergo Proxy is boring, I'd say, yeah, I can see that. But you wanna know why I actually finished Ergo Proxy? It wasn't this predictable, monotonous grind to finish. In Ergo Proxy, you immediately see a mysterious monster called a proxy. You also get a glimpse at a virus that's causing robots to become sentient. 2 mysteries. These 2 mysteries will not only be uncovered in an extremely satisfying way, but we go on a journey with Brielle to do so. And because the audience is swept along with her, we develop our own questions that we actively want answered. Eva develops a bunch of questions that not only am I not invested enough to care about, but ones that they don't answer. There's actual stakes that keep you interested in Ergo Proxy because it's spontaneous. I don't know what's going to happen every episode. I don't know who's going to die. Whereas Eva is not that. However, as I said, it did start picking up around episode 14. A majority of those foreign terms I mentioned earlier were actually used the most in later episodes of the show. This is when the plot felt like it was moving and we'd finally discover something. What's the spear of lasagna? Well, we end up getting cucked in the last 2 episodes and learned absolutely nothing. I'm saving that for later though.
Hello.
God?
Fuck! No, I'm not God. Why do you always do this to me? Why do you always take me to the Make-A-Wish Center?
God, you know I ain't.
Shut up. Let's just go. Hello.
God damn it. If a bully kicks the shit out of you every day, it doesn't matter if he had a rough upbringing or he's just young. The guy's still annoying. If someone gets on your nerves because he won't stop bothering you, it doesn't matter if he has some emotional issues because his parents divorced. He's still annoying, right? So why is it when it comes to anime, I'm all of a sudden supposed to forgive Shinji for being some easily manipulated whiny little Democrat because he's just 14 or it's realistic? Bottom line is, I don't like him. That's all that matters. Oh, I'm supposed to pretend like Asuka isn't the most insufferable red stain on the show because she's insecure? Because she has some issues? No. The author has a choice on whether or not to add these characters. Realistically, yeah, there's people like Shinji out there, but there's also people like Jack Lucas who made it through the most intense military training available at age 14. At 17, he stowed away on a ship headed for Iwo Jima on the front lines, and when he finally arrives, he has to storm the beach without a weapon. So obviously, he grabs it off a dead soldier and charges right in. Upon joining up with a friendly team of soldiers, he starts getting shot at and boom! The first round of his rifle headshots a dude. His second round, however, jammed his rifle. He picked it up while it was soaked in blood and sand. In the confusion, he realizes a live grenade's been thrown at his comrades and immediately hops on top and tells his homies to take cover. It's then that another grenade flashes past his face, so he grabs that one and throws it under his body, adding to the pile. The 2 grenades blow up and suddenly his guts are filled with metal. His comrades finish the battle and come back to collect his dog tags when they realize the fucker's still alive and still conscious. Guy makes a full recovery. Thank you. This has been Storytime with Scamboli. Point is, realistic isn't always,
oh geez, Rick, I don't know about this one. I don't want to pilot the robot, Rick.
I'm not saying Shinji had to be a JoJo character or a big muscle man alpha male, but the author could have given Shinji a myriad of more likable personality traits and still had him go through some inner turmoil. Asuka didn't have to be a bitch. Rei could have been developed a little more. I'd like to see her slowly developing a sense of self, and we only catch a glimpse of that. This is important because even if someone actually died, I wouldn't give a shit. It's real hard to build suspense when I don't even care what happened. If Shinji died, oh well, the story goes on. If Asuka died,
if there is heaven, I have seen it. Thank you, God.
the only person I was actually scared of dying off was some minor character who had no impact on the story aside from being a plot device for Shinji to storm off and act all tsundere. Again, why are we supposed to like Misato? Because she's hot? I can't empathize nor can I sympathize with any of the cast. Let's talk character development. Just now I googled why do people like Eva, and someone said because the characters are so good. He went on to say that these characters top even Breaking Bad, and that just gave me a hernia. You wanna know the difference between Breaking Bad's cast and Ava's incel, Harlot, and blow-up doll? One, they're likable. Walt is a desperate man on his last leg who will do anything to make his family's life easier when he dies. Even if that means selling meth and murdering people. Right there, that motive is enough to sell me. But on top of that, his personality is enjoyable and he makes the series fun to watch. Number two, character development.
Silly Scamboli. That is why us Redditors are far superior to you plebeians. You see, Ava explores the inner workings of the very fabric.
Listen, in Breaking Bad, you probably like Walt. If not, you're at least intrigued and want to see where the story takes him, and that makes you care when he goes from a loving father to a psychopathic criminal mastermind. You enjoy seeing hints of his personality becoming more and more distorted until in the end, he's a completely different person. But really, Walt always had that man inside of him. Shinji goes from mega cuck to mega cuck that sometimes acts a little sassy. Do we feel like we've grown with the character? No. Do I like Shinji enough to even care about his development? No. I'm not invested enough in where the story takes him. Asuka doesn't become less of a bitch, Rei doesn't fully develop a sense of self, and so on. Yet again, it feels like the story is going nowhere.
Are you sick of watching ethnics minding their own business?
God damn it! Get!
Introducing doN'T. No longer will you have to spit your dip in fear. Get out there and mind someone else's fucking business. Symbolism is DLC. It enhances an already great story. Therefore, it's completely irrelevant if what you're watching is not enjoyable in any capacity. Oh my god, Shinji curled up like a fetus inside the Eva. That is so deep. That is why Eva is better than Goblin Slayer. Yeah, you can gargle a dick and brush your teeth with my balls. Breaking Bad was an already thrilling and entertaining ride, but on top of that it's packed with interesting symbolism that I didn't even catch on to. When Walter is confronted by his wife about his second life, Walt inches further and further away from her until finally, he says we're done here. He then proceeds to walk away from her and sheds his light red shirt for a darker and more sinister shade, a blood red. This is where Walter leaves for the rest of the series and Heisenberg arrives. Just a shade of red says so much. Does symbolism like this make a great story? Fuck no! But it's cool to look at and think, huh, that was interesting. I don't care that Eva has religious symbolism, that does nothing for me, so don't even try pulling that shit. Look at modern art, look how stupid it looks. But it sells because, ding ding ding, symbolism. Ah, this pineapple symbolizes when I poop, but the poop feels like a spiky ball, and snobs eat that shit right up, just like Eva. The symbolism doesn't matter unless the rest is cool to look at. Don't get me wrong, if you enjoyed the series and appreciate the symbolism, that's totally understandable and fine, but if you use that as evidence of the story being good, well, basically, the ending is just 40 minutes of every character confronting their insecurities and coming to terms with the human instrumentality project. It feels like a high school play where they have to describe everything because there's not enough time to convey the emotions of every character. I'm just gonna give you an example. Did you shit your pants?
No! I don't need pull-ups anymore, I'm a big boy now. My mommy and daddy abandoning me doesn't affect me at all.
Did you shit your pants?
No!
Did you shit your pants?
No!
Did you shit your pants?
Yes! Mommy and daddy's divorce does make me shit my pants. I do need diapers.
It sounds like I'm exaggerating, but no, it's just that. Some people will tell you it was a cinematic masterpiece, and you can believe that, that's fine. But let me tell you why it's horrible as an ending. Number one, I don't care about these characters. Yeah, everyone on the show hates themselves. Why should I care? Shinji is a nuisance. Asuka is just a menace, and so on. And it's not like anyone develops in the end, they just kind of come to terms with themselves and hooray, I'm a pussy, yeah! But that was pretty subjective. Let's say you actually care about the characters and story. We do learn about the Human Instrumentality Project, yet we don't learn a single thing about Ikari's motives, why the project's even happening, where the angels come from, why the angels hate humans, so on and so forth. So you've invested around 13.5 hours into the series hoping, praying for a fulfilling ending that explains what's going on, all to get cucked for nearly an hour. It completely deviates from the rest of the story for what? To be artistic, to be deep, to make a statement about the human mind. Boo! Boo! You learn in 7th grade what makes a story. The beginning, rising action, the climax, and falling action. Only there is no climax to EVA. It's just one long, less than mediocre handjob where you don't even finish. Right as you feel it coming, he or she just stops and starts giving you a lecture on the human mind for an hour. The EVAs are so fucking cool. First off, the design is rad even 20 years later. When the EVAs start freaking out and going berserk, everything about it's unnerving and badass, especially when Unit 1 starts eating an angel. There's a handful of these moments, but each one is fucking sick. Speaking of cool moments, anytime they use classical, old school type music was a blast. Like when the two EVAs are dancing together to beat an angel. And let's talk about the way the anime was edited. The whole thing kind of felt like watching some sort of war catalog that you're not supposed to see. There's also these long shots of the landscape that give off a vibe I've never felt in anime. I really wish that modern anime would branch out and explore different methods of cinematography like EVA did. It would really breathe fresh air into the medium and provide a massive outlet for creativity instead of, you know. Dipping into the story side of things, I think it's really cool that if for some reason you actually liked it, you could spend hours upon hours dissecting why the author did certain things and what characters were thinking and so on even 24 years later. That's insane to me. So what am I trying to say? Well, just because a bunch of nerds decide something's a classic doesn't make it good. Have you ever read The Great Gatsby? That shit fucking sucked. It even might have layers and layers of psychological messages and all that. It doesn't make it fun to watch. And if you disagree, well, that's just because I have much larger amounts of brain power than you. You don't gotta agree with me, I don't care. If I agreed with everything some asshole on YouTube said, I would probably be a really boring person. So if you're mad that I don't have the same opinion as you, you can go ahead and fuck yourself. However, if you just disagree with what I said or think I'm wrong, leave a comment. I probably won't read it, but it's cool to have a discussion. Don't leave yet, don't leave yet, don't fucking leave yet, I'm not finished. This video took a ridiculous amount of time to make, and I'm probably never gonna do something like this again. So if you enjoyed the video, please let me know. Likewise, if you thought this video was garbage. Fun fact, I tried to trigger some EVA fans to use as evidence in this video, but they're actually pretty chill. Next week, I guess we're doing a manga or manhwa video. I'm very possibly not uploading for obvious reasons. Peace.